There is a strength that cannot be measured by muscle, wealth, or position. It is not found in the halls of power, nor in the treasures of the world. It is found in the quiet resilience of a heart that refuses to give up. It is found in the unwavering spirit of a woman whose faith carries her through storms that others could never endure. The strength of a woman's faith is not always loud. It is often silent, steady, and unshakable. It is the kind of strength that holds families together when everything else is falling apart. It is the kind of strength that prays when the world has stopped believing. It is the kind of strength that rises at dawn to face another day, even when yesterday brought tears. You see, faith is not just believing in what you can see. It is believing in what you cannot yet see. A woman of faith looks beyond the darkness and sees the dawn. She looks beyond the struggle and sees the victory. She looks beyond the pain and sees the purpose. Think about it. When nations have faltered, when homes have broken, when men have grown weary, it is often the faith of women that has kept hope alive. That faith has been tested in the fire, but it has not been consumed. That faith has been pressed by the weight of sorrow, but it has not been crushed. That faith has stood when everything else has fallen. And let me tell you this, such faith is not weak. It is not passive. It is not fragile. It is powerful. It is courageous. It is enduring. The strength of a woman's faith is not in her circumstances. It is in the one she believes in. You may be a woman listening to this, and you feel overlooked, underestimated, or unseen. You wonder if your prayers matter. You wonder if your faith makes any difference. Let me remind you today, your faith is not in vain. Every tear you have shed, every prayer you have whispered, every step you have taken in quiet trust, heaven has seen it. And if you are a man listening today, do not dismiss the faith of the women around you. Do not underestimate the prayers of a mother, a wife, a sister, or a daughter. For the strength of a woman's faith can move mountains that others thought could never be moved. The world may measure strength by power, influence, or success, but heaven measures strength by faith. And the strength of a woman's faith is a testimony to generations yet unborn. So, to every woman who feels weary, keep believing. To every woman who feels broken, keep trusting. To every woman who feels forgotten, know this: your faith is stronger than you think. It is shaping your future. It is touching lives around you. And it is leaving a legacy that will outlast your lifetime. The strength of a woman's faith is one of the greatest forces on earth. And when it is placed in the hands of God, it becomes unstoppable. Faith is the unseen strength that carries women through life's greatest storms. It is not something that can be measured by the eye or weighed on a scale, but it is a power that cannot be denied. When life hurls its fiercest winds and the waves crash without mercy, many would expect a person to crumble under the weight of hardship. Yet, time and again, we see women stand when everything else is fallen. Their secret is not always visible. Their power is not always recognized by the world. But it is there, and it is real. It is faith. Faith is what gives a woman the courage to face another day after nights of tears. It is what enables her to keep her family together when everything seems to be breaking apart. It is what gives her the will to keep walking when her strength has already been spent. Faith is not the absence of pain, nor is it the guarantee of a smooth journey. Instead, it is the conviction that there is meaning beyond the pain, that there is hope beyond the struggle, and that there is a purpose even when life feels shattered. When a woman believes with her whole heart, she carries a power that many cannot comprehend. She may not speak loudly, but her prayers echo louder than thunder. She may not hold titles, but her influence can shape generations. She may not be recognized by crowds, but her quiet perseverance changes lives. Faith is not just something she holds, it is the strength that holds her. Consider the storms life brings. Some storms come as sudden tragedies, loss, sickness, betrayal, disappointment. Others come slowly, pressing on the heart day after day until the weight feels unbearable. Many would collapse under such storms. But faith gives a woman the ability to rise, not because she has more resources than others, not because she is free from pain, but because she believes that the storm will not last forever. She believes that there is a dawn beyond the night. Faith is what lifts her when she has no strength of her own. It reminds her that she does not walk alone. It tells her that even when she cannot see the outcome, there is a greater plan unfolding. It is this unseen power that allows a mother to keep praying for her children when the world says they are lost. It is this unseen power that allows a wife to keep standing by her husband when others would have walked away. It is this unseen power that allows a daughter to face grief with dignity, or a sister to face hardship with courage. Faith does not erase the storm, but it gives the strength to endure it. Many underestimate the strength of faith because it cannot be seen. But think about it, the strongest forces in life are often unseen. Love is unseen, yet it moves hearts and builds families. Hope is unseen, yet it pushes people to fight for tomorrow. Wind is unseen, yet it moves oceans and shapes the earth. In the same way, faith is unseen, yet it moves mountains that the world said could never be moved. Some may ask, how can faith make such a difference? Because faith changes perspective. Where fear sees defeat, faith sees possibility. Where despair sees an ending, faith sees a new beginning. Where weakness sees the impossibility of tomorrow, faith sees the hand of God making a way. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the deep assurance that what is unseen is greater than what is seen. It is this assurance that gives women strength to keep going when everyone else gives up. Think about the countless stories of women throughout history whose faith became their anchor. Many of them had no wealth, no power, and no status in society, but they had faith, and that faith gave them the ability to endure storms that others would have fled from. Some raised children in the midst of war. Some kept their families together through poverty. Some never stopped believing in a dream that seemed impossible. Their faith was the quiet power that turned weakness into strength and despair into hope. In everyday life, this same faith is present. It is found in the woman who gets up every morning to provide for her family, even when she feels exhausted. It is found in the woman who stays on her knees, praying for her loved ones, even when her own heart is breaking. It is found in the woman who smiles through her pain, not because she denies it, but because she believes that joy will come again. This kind of faith is not a shallow wish. It is a deep, unwavering trust that there is more to life than what she sees right now. Storms do not discriminate. They come to every life. They test the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the young and the old. But the difference is not whether storms come, but how we face them. Faith gives women the courage to face storms not with fear, but with strength. She may bend, but she will not break. She may cry, but she will not be defeated. She may stumble, but she will rise again. That is the power of faith. It transforms storms into testimonies. And this strength is not only for herself. A woman's faith does not stop with her own survival. It spills over into the lives of those around her. Her children learn to believe because they see her believe. Her family finds hope because she refuses to give up hope. Her community is lifted because she keeps standing when others have fallen. Faith is contagious, and the strength of a woman's faith has the power to touch countless lives. Faith is also a legacy. Long after her voice is silenced, her faith will continue to speak. The prayers she has whispered in the quiet will outlast her lifetime. The example she sets in storms will inspire those who come after her. The strength of her faith becomes a foundation upon which others can build their own lives. That is why the unseen strength of faith is never wasted. Every step of trust, every word of prayer, every act of courage matters. So, if you are a woman walking through storms today, remember this: your faith is stronger than you realize. Do not let the world convince you that you are weak because you shed tears. Strength is not the absence of tears. It is the courage to keep moving forward while you wipe them away. Do not believe the lie that your prayers do not matter. Heaven hears them. Do not think your faith is too small. Even faith as small as a seed can grow into something mighty. And if you are weary, take heart. Your faith is carrying you even when you feel like you cannot carry yourself. It is holding you steady when the storm rages. It is lifting you when you cannot stand. Your faith is your unseen strength, and it is enough. The strength of a woman's faith is one of the greatest powers on earth. It is not limited by what the eyes can see or the world can measure. It is the quiet, unshakable force that endures through storms and shines through darkness. And when it is placed in the hands of God, it becomes unbreakable, unstoppable, and eternal. Faith is the unseen strength that carries women through life's greatest storms, and it will carry you too. A woman's faith impacts generations and holds families, communities, and nations together. When the world looks at strength, it often looks at kings, leaders, and warriors. It measures power by armies, wealth, and influence. But the true pillars of history have not always worn crowns or carried swords. Many of them were women who, with nothing more than faith in their hearts, carried burdens that no one else saw and kept hope alive when the world was crumbling around them. Think for a moment about the strength that comes from such faith. It does not demand recognition. It does not shout its victories from the rooftops. It works quietly, steadfastly, like a light in the night. A woman's faith has the power to carry her family when the weight of life presses hard. It has the power to bring comfort when there are no answers. It has the power to nurture, protect, and guide with a love that flows not from her own resources, but from her trust in something greater than herself. When we speak of generations, we must remember this: what a woman believes today can echo for decades to come. A mother's prayers can shape the destiny of her children. A grandmother's faith can plant seeds that her grandchildren will harvest. Her resilience in times of trial can become the story that inspires a family line to rise above adversity. Every act of trust, every word spoken in faith is like a stone dropped into a pond. The ripples move outward, touching lives she may never meet. Consider the home. When families face storms, whether it is financial hardship, sickness, or conflict, it is often the faith of a woman that keeps hope alive within those walls. She may be tired, but she prays. She may be wounded, but she believes. She may feel the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders, but she still speaks words of life into her children. Her faith is not just for herself, it becomes a covering for her household. Many times, it is the unseen prayers of a mother or wife that keep a family from falling apart. Her whispered petitions in the night can be stronger than walls of stone. Her influence stretches beyond her family into her community. History bears witness to women whose faith ignited movements, healed divisions, and inspired hope in places of despair. They may not have worn titles of power, but they carried an authority that came from within. They did not lead with armies, but with prayer. They did not govern with politics, but with compassion. And yet their impact was so great that whole communities were changed because one woman refused to stop believing. And nations, too, have been preserved and lifted because of the faith of women. When wars raged, it was often the women who kept homes together and nurtured the next generation while waiting in hope. When injustice rose, it was often women of faith who stood unshaken, declaring that truth and righteousness would prevail. The power of their faith cannot be measured by statistics or recorded in history books, yet it has been one of the most decisive forces in shaping the destiny of nations. This strength is not about perfection. Women of faith have faced their own fears, doubts, and battles. Yet their greatness lies in their persistence. They rise even when they fall. They believe even when evidence tells them not to. They stand even when the ground beneath them shakes. That is the power of faith. It is not built on circumstances, it is built on conviction. It is not fragile, it is unbreakable. Some may look at a woman of faith and think she is ordinary, but there is nothing ordinary about someone who believes in the unseen, who trusts in the impossible, who holds on when others let go. The world underestimates her, but heaven knows her strength. The world may not write her name in headlines, but generations will rise because she chose to believe. Perhaps you are a woman listening to this, and you wonder if what you are doing matters. You wonder if your prayers are heard, if your sacrifices make a difference, if your faith is truly seen. Let me remind you, nothing offered in faith is ever wasted. Every prayer, every act of kindness, every word of encouragement is building something that will last far longer than you can imagine. You are leaving a legacy, not just for your children, but for all who will come after you. And perhaps you are a man listening today. Never underestimate the power of a woman's faith in your life. Do not overlook the prayers of your mother, your wife, your sister, or your daughter. Many men have stood strong because a woman stood in prayer behind them. Many victories have been won because a woman refused to give up. Many destinies have been fulfilled because a woman's faith carried them when they could not carry themselves. Faith is not a private thing locked away in the heart. It is living, active, and contagious. It spreads from one life to another. And often it begins with women who simply choose to believe against all odds. Their faith becomes the spark that lights the fire of hope in others. Their example becomes the story that inspires courage. Their resilience becomes the anchor that steadies those around them. If you trace back the roots of greatness, you will often find it begins with someone who believed when no one else did. A mother who refused to stop praying. A wife who held her family together through storms. A grandmother who taught her grandchildren what it means to trust when everything else fails. A woman whose faith became the seed of transformation for her family, her community, and yes, even her nation. So today, let us honor that strength. Not the strength that demands attention, but the strength that perseveres in silence. Not the strength that boasts, but the strength that believes. Not the strength that fades, but the strength that endures. A woman's faith is one of the greatest treasures this world has ever known, and its impact will never fully be measured until eternity reveals it. If you are a woman of faith, do not stop. Do not give up. Do not believe the lie that your trust is too small or your influence too weak. Your faith is stronger than you realize. It is shaping hearts. It is guiding lives. It is holding families, communities, and nations together. What you believe today is building the foundation for generations tomorrow. And if you are someone blessed enough to know such a woman, cherish her, learn from her, honor her. For her faith is not just her strength. It is also your shelter, your example, and your inheritance. The world may change. Circumstances may shift. Nations may rise and fall. But the faith of a woman remains. And when it does, it carries with it the power to impact generations and hold together the very fabric of families, communities, and nations. The strength of a woman's faith is underestimated by the world, but unstoppable in the hands of God. When people look at strength, they often look at what can be seen: the power of armies, the influence of leaders, the reach of wealth, or the achievements of men and women in the spotlight. But true strength is not always in the visible, the loud, or the celebrated. True strength is often hidden in the quiet endurance of a woman who chooses to trust God even when everything in her life tells her to give up. That kind of faith cannot be measured in worldly terms because it is not a strength that comes from flesh and blood. It is a strength that flows from heaven. Think about the countless women throughout history who were never crowned with glory, never written into the pages of history books, never recognized by the powerful, yet they changed lives and even nations through their faith. A mother who prayed for her children day after day, never letting despair silence her hope. A wife who stood by her family through poverty, sickness, or uncertainty, leaning not on her own ability, but on the promises of God. A daughter who refused to abandon her integrity, even when the world mocked her. These are not stories of weakness. They are stories of strength. The kind of strength that shakes the unseen realm and shapes the visible world. The world underestimates this kind of faith because it cannot be counted, measured, or weighed on a scale. It does not shout for attention, and it does not demand recognition. Yet it stands when everything else falls. It believes when everything else doubts. It loves when everything else grows cold. That is why it is unstoppable. Because when a woman places her faith in the hands of God, she places her life in the hands of the one who cannot fail. There is something unshakable about a woman who has decided in her heart, no matter what happens, I will not let go of my faith. She may walk through storms that break others. She may endure pain that would cause others to lose hope. She may face rejection, loss, or loneliness, yet she continues to believe that God has a purpose for her life. And in her believing, she becomes a beacon of light to those around her. People watch her, and they see a strength that does not come from her own willpower. They see a peace that cannot be explained by her circumstances. They see a fire in her eyes that no trial has been able to extinguish. Faith like that does not only affect her, it spreads. It touches her children, her friends, her community, and even generations she may never meet. A woman's faith plants seeds that continue to grow long after her footsteps are gone. The prayer of a mother can follow a son into battlefields, into distant cities, into struggles he never thought he could endure. The prayer of a grandmother can open doors for her grandchildren that they never imagined possible. The faith of one woman, standing firm in the promises of God, can alter the direction of entire families and even influence the course of nations. Yet so often, the world does not see this. It looks past the quiet strength of women who bend their knees in prayer, who rise every morning to face battles unknown, who pour themselves into the lives of others without applause or recognition. The world may call it weakness. The world may dismiss it as ordinary, but heaven calls it power. Heaven calls it strength. Heaven calls it unstoppable. A woman's faith does not need to be loud to be effective. It does not need to stand on a stage to be powerful. Its strength is proven in the everyday choices to trust God when there is no clear answer, to keep moving forward when the road is rough, to keep loving when the heart has been broken, to keep giving when there seems to be nothing left to give. That is the power the world cannot understand, but God honors. When faith is placed in the hands of God, it multiplies. It becomes greater than the one who carries it. That is why the strength of a woman's faith cannot be underestimated. It is not about her own resources, her own talents, or her own wisdom. It is about her willingness to trust in the one who holds the universe. And when she does that, she becomes a vessel through which God's unstoppable power flows. You may look at your life today and think your faith is small. You may feel worn down by the struggles you carry, the burdens that weigh on your shoulders, or the pain that seems unending. You may feel invisible, unheard, or undervalued. But let me remind you, in the eyes of God, your faith is not small. It is a force that moves mountains. It is a light in the darkness. It is a seed that will bear fruit in time. The world may underestimate it, but heaven does not. God does not. Every prayer you have whispered in the quiet of the night, every tear you have cried when no one else was watching, every act of love you have given without receiving anything in return, none of it has been wasted. It has all been gathered by the hands of God, and in His hands it becomes unstoppable. You may not see the results today. You may not see them tomorrow, but in time your faith will show its power. It will break chains. It will open doors. It will bring life where there was death. It will bring hope where there was despair. The strength of a woman's faith is not just about what it does in her own life. It is about what it sets in motion beyond her. One act of faith can ripple through generations. One prayer can outlive the one who prayed it. One step of trust can inspire countless others to believe. This is why it is unstoppable, because it does not depend on human strength, but on divine power. So, to every woman who feels weary, let your faith rise again. To every woman who feels unworthy, know that your faith is precious in the sight of God. To every woman who feels small, remember that your faith is greater than you imagine. And to every man listening, never underestimate the faith of a woman in your life. Do not dismiss her prayers, her hope, or her trust in God. For often, it is her faith that has carried you further than you realize. The strength of a woman's faith is underestimated by the world, but unstoppable in the hands of God. It is the unseen foundation upon which lives are built, the invisible shield that protects generations, the eternal legacy that will never fade. And when that faith is placed fully in God, it becomes a force that nothing on earth or in hell can ever defeat.